Hello, friends. I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic. Everything here is great. Yesterday, I talked a little bit about my wood guy, and Chris asked a question of he mentioned that real wood stuff is fantastic, and when he got his place, he really put in, he ponied up the cash to buy like real American hardwood furniture. And he asked me what my favorite wood is. And that's a very loaded question because most of the stuff in my house that I have made, I have chose to use cherry. I like working with cherry a lot. It is a hardwood, but it's not super hard. Got a beautiful tone. I don't stain wood. I hate staining wood. There's exceptions. I will use obvious stains like gray or something on pine to make it look a little rustic or whatever, or to make it look gray. But I've never liked the idea of using a stain to make a wood darker. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Use a darker wood is the way I've always thought about it. But I like working with cherry. I like the look of it. But there are woods I like working with better. The thing is, so the woods I like to work with, if I had to pick, would be cedar and poplar. They're very similar. They work very similarly. They are technically hardwoods, but they're very soft. In fact, cedar is very soft. Cedar smells fantastic, but the nice things about them are they have really beautiful grain, straight grained woods. They're very nice to work with. They don't burn on table saws. They don't dull saws. They're not prone to splintering and chipping like some of the hardwoods are. They're just fantastic to work with. They chisel easily, they carve easily, they sand nice. But poplar's kind of ugly. If you don't know what poplar is, have you ever seen it's a lightish green color. It's green in appearance. People don't like that look. I don't disagree. But it's a very easy wood to work. There are woods, the pines, like, I don't have any around here. Pine, well, like a 2x4 or whatever. You can't see that, can you? There's a 2x4 right here. Beginners like to work with pine because it's cheap and it's theoretically easy to work with. But I have often said, do not start with pine. Do not start with plywood. Start with poplar. If you're going to pick a species to start with poplar. And there's good reasons. Pine is very soft to the point that it becomes very difficult to work. Not only is it very soft, it has huge open growth rings, which means that the density of the wood, it goes from hard to soft to hard to soft. It's not forgiving. It chips easily, it frays easily. If you're trying to cut joinery like mortise and tenons or dovetails, you will get frustrated at how difficult it is to make a good looking dovetail in pine because the saw can go wherever it wants. The wood is so soft that it's hard to keep a saw on track. And so people who practice on pine, I feel like you're really hurting yourself. You should practice on a harder wood. Practice on poplar. It's hard enough that a saw will stay in its track. But it's soft enough that you won't dull your practice tools quickly, and it's not expensive, so you're not throwing away a bunch of money. I said yesterday that I could get poplar cheaper than I can get pine. That's absolutely true. I can go to my guy. He will sell me poplar at $2 a board foot, which means I could buy a 12-inch by 8-foot piece of poplar for $16. And it's actually an inch thick instead of 3/4 of an inch thick. To go to my local store, and buy a 1x12 in pine, it's going to be like $25. It's significant savings. So I can buy poplar cheaper than I can buy pine. And if you find your wood guy, that's true. If you go to the store, you go to Home Depot or Lowe's and try to buy hardwood, you pay an outrageous price. that's just the nature of the beast, I guess. It's because it doesn't sell a whole lot, so they just mark it up like crazy. You can buy that stuff there. You can go get white oak and red oak and poplar, sometimes cedar, various things. I've seen actually some of the big box stores in some areas where they have a decent amount of hardwood buyers. They'll have an actual hardwood inventory where you can go. Mine has poplar and oak, and that's about it. It doesn't really have anything else. Maybe some maple, maybe. But so I mentioned yesterday I got maple. It is a better wood for furniture than poplar by far. There's no denying it, right? Maple is a hardwood, a very hard wood. Let me take that back. There's sugar maple. There are softer maples, but the hard maple that I have is a very hard wood, which means it burns really quickly on a saw. If you're not, you got to keep your saw speed, your feeds perfect. The saw blade needs to be clean. It does dull tools faster than the softer woods, but it doesn't dent as easily. Like my workbench here that's all pine, there's dents all over this thing, and it's only 6 months old. And if you have that in a piece of furniture, bumping into it, it's going to dent. It's going to look like crap. Poplar is a little bit more resistant. It's a little harder than pine, but not dramatically harder. The nice thing about poplar is, I don't know if you know what poplar trees look like. They're very tall, and they don't branch a whole lot. So they're just these straight up trees. And then they have some branches coming off, and they form this little bulb. Basically at the top. They don't branch down low, usually. So poplar wood is this super straight grain wood. It doesn't do a whole lot of twisties and weirdness. Most of the wood stays in that big trunk, and it just becomes this, like a pine, you get this really straight grain wood without a lot of knots and not a lot of twists. And so that's another reason why I like it, working with it. Walnut is everybody's obvious favorite. I like walnut. It's fine. It's a very dark colored wood, which if you like the dark look, it's going to be one of the best. And here in North America, one of the least expensive dark woods. There are other dark woods like ebony, which is basically black. If you were to try to buy ebony here in the United States, you're going to pay a ridiculous amount of money for it. Black walnut here is the darkest of the hardwoods, North American hardwoods, and it's relatively inexpensive. I can buy black walnut for like $6 a board foot or something like that. Maybe he would sell it to me a little less, but it's good to work with. But like a lot of the denser hardwoods like that, it is prone to chip out. It is prone to blow out, splintering, a lot like oak is, and I'm mildly allergic to a lot of sawdusts, and walnut seems to be one that makes me sneeze the most. I have a dust mask. I wear my dust mask when I'm doing dusty things, but it will cause me to sneeze a good bit. And I don't particularly like the smell. I know people say they love the smell when you cut walnut. I don't really like it. Not a fan. But it is a kind of a top shelf wood for custom furniture and cabinetry. So a lot of people use it, and a lot of people mimic it. You will find a lot of people will be dyeing oak to try to make it look like walnut, which is completely ridiculous. Because if you know what oak wood grain looks like, and you know what walnut wood grain looks like, they are nothing alike. But people will often dye cheaper woods with a walnut stain to try to get that dark, rich look, and I think it just looks horrendous. But yeah, I don't really like working with it. I have a ridiculous amount of pine. Back at the start, during the summer of 2020, my local home center called Busy Beaver had a misprint on their pricing, and they honored it. When I pointed it out to them, they said, "Yeah, we'll honor it." So I bought everything they had. I bought 1x12s for $1 a foot, and so I just bought all of them. And so I still have a bunch of this stuff laying around, and I don't mind working with it. But it's just pine is it's a beast of its own. It's its own thing, and I don't make furniture out of it often. I have made some. My rolling desk has a pine top, and I made a little desk for my kid. But it's not. I'm definitely not going to make a kitchen island out of it. we'll use the hard maple that I got. It'll be nice and sturdy and it'll last forever. And it'll probably be one of those pieces that I doubt I'll leave it here when I move. I'll probably build a different island or buy like one of the little prefabs. What's your favorite wood to look at? Do you have a favorite species? Do you look for, like, I don't know about Chris, anybody else, like, when you go buy furniture, are you looking for a specific type of wood or color of wood? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know sounds smart is titillate. It is a verb meaning to excite in an agreeable way. With its stirring performance of Beethoven's Eroica Symphony, the full orchestra titillated us at the Van Gelders Gala. Titillate. Titillate. I mean, yeah, that's a word. I feel like it's old. That feels like an old word to me. Something people used to say. Not using it anytime soon.